Made by a growing number of Democrats as candidates address concerns about white supremacy and President Trump's rhetoric.
Is the president a white supremacist?
He is. He's also made that very clear.
He's a man who cozies up to the white supremacists. He calls them fine fellows.
Do you agree? I do.
I think he is. I think it's very clear by his actions, and at best, he is empowering white nationalists.
It's very clear the president's actions and words have conveyed a very strong sense to many, many Americans that he has white supremacist beliefs, and that's the only standard we can go by.
Joining us now is progressive commentator and radio talk show host Rashad Richey and Boston Herald radio host Adriana Cohen, also a nationally syndicated columnist. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
All right, first things first. Axios counting at least 6 Democratic candidates who are now calling President Trump a white supremacist, but others like Biden are not going to say that. They're not going to go all the way there. So why do you think the conversation is shifting for some Democrats right now, but not for others? They've got all these different views. Rashad, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a distinction without a difference. Here's the truth. Who really cares if President Trump is a white supremacist personally or not? What we care about is his policy. Is he a white supremacist in policy? Is he a white nationalist in policy? And I think it's important to note that it was actually first the federal government who said Trump was a racist back in 1973 when the U.S. Department of Justice sued the Trump Management Corporation and said, you are discriminating against black people because you don't want them to move into your apartment complexes. Well, that was the first time he actually made headlines. He has been making headlines ever since. Based on policy, does he provide protection for white nationalistic ideas? Yes. Is he bigoted against those who are of Muslim faith? We have seen that through executive orders. So the bottom line is we are seeing a president who not only winks, but is cozy to the ideology and the policies of white nationalism. That's why they embrace him as they do.
But that said, Adriana, do you feel as if the Democrats are going a little too far with this? Take a look at this Axios report here that says Trump allies tell us that the claim by Democratic opponents is not only emboldening his base, but also alienating some mainstream Republicans who think Democrats have gone too far. What do you make of that?
That's absolutely correct. First of all, it's baseless that the president is a racist. He's done more to empower the black community and minorities than any past administration. I mean, look at the billions of dollars that his administration is pumping into the inner city with opportunity zones. Look at the economy he's grown that has reduced unemployment for black Americans and people of color to the lowest levels in 50 years. And you look at the fact that he just got ASAP Rocky out of prison and brought him home safely to the United States.
Because he got a...
No, so my point is he
didn't get ASAP. Okay, come on. He didn't get ASAP Rocky out of prison. The Swedish system got him out of prison temporarily.
Excuse me, the president called the Prime Minister of Sweden personally to lobby for his release. So he was absolutely behind it.
Al Sharpton also worked on his behalf, so Al Sharpton got him out of prison.
Well, who do you think has more influence, Al Sharpton or the President of the United States? I would go with the President. But let me say this. It is going way too far calling the President a white supremacist and his supporters that as well. It's reprehensible, and it's fomenting civil unrest. And so I think Democrats are making a grave mistake thinking that they can, insult their way into the White House. It didn't work with Hillary Clinton calling half the country deplorables, and it's not going to work again in 2020.
All right, Rashad, I see you shaking your head there. Obviously, we do know that the president has stoked a lot of racial tension with his comments about Baltimore most recently, and many other examples that are just Charlottesville as well. We're talking about the both sides issue here. As you shake your head, what's going through your mind? What do you want to say?
This is what's going through my mind. I can't believe she's sitting there saying all of this with a straight face. The truth is, you have people like David Duke who openly endorse and support Donald Trump. There's a reason for that. Yes, Donald Trump has a significant number of white nationalist followers and supporters. That is the bottom line. And to suggest that somehow his lobbying for ASAP Rocky, which was all hyperbolic and for political reason, that somehow his lobbying for ASAP Rocky is an indication that he has not given any room to white nationalism or white nationalists in his administration is quite ridiculous. And remember, since Charlottesville, which was a de facto Ku Klux Klan rally, since Charlottesville, you've had 73 murders that have been perpetrated by white supremacists. And how many times has President Trump called this out? Zero. Not one time. Not one time has he provided clear, concise, and moral leadership when it comes to this growing domestic terrorism in the United States. And he is radicalizing a lot of the domestic terrorists that you see. That's why folks don't want him in El Paso and other places.
Yeah, and to pick up on that, Adriana, do you feel as if the president has not sufficiently enough distanced himself from the white supremacists, the racists, the David Dukes of the world, all of those folks who are big supporters of this president and a lot of his message?
Not at all. The president, time and time again, has denounced bigotry in any form. Yet that's never good enough for Democrats because they hate the man and they know that they can't win on policy.
So they resort
to
David
name
Duke,
calling.
I do not want your support. I do not believe in your causes. I do not want your support.
That would appeal potentially to the middle, too.
Exactly. White supremacists, I don't want your support.
Well, he should absolutely say that. But the point is, he has already denounced bigotry 7 ways to Sunday, but it's never good enough. And, you know, I just have to push back a little bit on what Rashad said. You know, the president is empowering black Americans with jobs, with you know, look at the economy. This is helping, taking, you know, millions of Americans, minorities out of poverty. If you were a racist, wouldn't you be oppressing people instead of uplifting them like this current administration? And then, you know, it's just, he's pumping billions of dollars into opportunity zones to help the inner city. And he's also releasing black Americans from prison with his First Step Act. So if you're a racist, wouldn't you be keeping minorities in jail instead of lobbying for the release and then helping them provide jobs so they can re-enter society successfully? So the facts just don't add up to the talk.
Let me respond to that.
President Trump, based on his actions, not on words and sound bites.
So let me go ahead and respond to that. First of all, the numbers that you're utilizing are incorrect. So let's talk about black unemployment. President Trump uses what's called a U3 rating system. We're talking about these unemployment numbers. The real numbers are from a U6 rating system. The U3 rating system says if you work 1 hour for 1 month within that survey month, you are considered fully employed. The U6 rating system actually contextualizes the numbers and differentiates between full-time, part-time, and contractual work. When you look at the U6 rating numbers, unemployment with African Americans is still over 20%. In addition to that, since the president has been president, black people are losing, based on the dollar of white folk, 2 to 10 cents per dollar. That is based on the new statistical report of how much economic power black people have in the workforce as compared to whites. It is now growing. The difference is growing because the administration has failed to address direct discrimination causes in the workplace. Beyond that, let's go to releasing black people from jail. He definitely has been someone through executive action has winked at, yes, let's get some of these black folks out that should be out. But he has not been able to reflect that in his policy. You have an attorney general and others who are looking at not only creating more pathways to prison, they are anti-prison or criminal justice reform as a policy. So having 5 or 10 black folks released, that's a microcosm and does not speak to the macrocosm of our criminal justice system in the United States of America.
All right, Rashad Ritchie, Adriana Cohen, spirited debate as usual. Thank you so much.
Yeah, once they get out of prison also, a lot of Republicans are fighting for them not to